All right. Welcome. Friday morning for me. Takbir, what time is it for you?
It's Friday evening,
Ooh,
almost
time
10
travel,
p.m.
right? So today, what we're going to do is we're going to look at a bunch of work from a making a modeling class. And then we're going to take a look at how AI might reinterpret that. Is that what aligns with what you think we're going to do, Takbir?
Yeah, it's kind of an experiment.
Yeah. This is kind of one of the first times we're doing this. So we're going to see how it goes. All right. And what are we going to use to do this?
Well, we were thinking of Midjourney, seeing that, we've been talking about Midjourney a lot, as has everyone else. And so we've been like discussing a little bit about how, how we can make it do certain things that we want, but also there are some surprises that it throws our way sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. I like Midjourney because it's just really, I mean, it's right in Discord, right? It's really easy to get images back. And for me, it's been pretty like happy, like it's always surprising and stuff like that. However, we see these images on the screen, and I think there's a part of the story that was like a little bit frustrating to you, right? Like, what were you trying to do?
Well, yeah, with this one, this was I was kind of exploring a cave-like space, multi-level cave, a cave which is carved out, but I wasn't able to get a proper section. And these are, I think, what Peter sort of tried was to blend an existing section with the image that I had, which was kind of a sectional image, and then sort of merge it together, and we got a very much better section than before. So I think there's many, it's an iterative process. So you keep putting it back in and maybe changing certain parameters. And I kind of find it very similar to parametric design, where you sort of tweak the parameters a little bit and see what the outcome is going to be. So it's generative design and it's parametric at the same time.
And we have this other example that you and I were talking about, right? Where you're starting with, these are more like buildings as a whole. You're starting with these, and then you were trying to move two different drawings. Is this, what's going on with this one?
So this was a project which didn't get built. It was supposed to be a library and in a park. So it's a real project, but it got scrapped. But it was something that was really interesting to us. So we just kept, I just can't stop thinking about it. I wish this library was real. So I think the first image that I put in was the rendering that we did, which was a very conceptual rendering, which we didn't really complete, and the earliest one. So I was like, okay, we don't have time to devote to completing this, to resolving it to a much higher level. Let's see if Midjourney can just do it for us. So that's when we just put that in. And what was interesting was when I put coconut palm trees, it started showing me these really traditional houses that you would get in South Asia, like the tropical sort of houses. And so when I removed the word coconut, that's when I started getting the results that I want, because it was more focused on these traditional houses. Yeah. So I think that there's a bias. There is discriminating against certain terms, and it's kind of adopting human sort of biases. So yeah, so I like the images that it gave us with these sort of overhanging kind of spaces or forms, and yeah, started to sort of sketch something. I'm really terrible at sketching, but I try to make it look like, I mean, what it
you're not terrible. You're apparently horrible, right? Is what you're saying here. I don't think this is true, because sketches are always great. But yeah, right, like these sketches, and then how do we get from there? And this is really interesting too, because like in the class classes or this making and modeling class, which we're going to focus on today, we do still ask the students to sketch a lot.
And they do amazing sketches. There's like so much going on in the sketches, and why I say they're horrible is because it's not always, you know, the quality of the sketch that matters. It's the idea and how you can sort of communicate that. And now we have so many other tools, and making and modeling is all about using different tools for making and modeling, for sort of depicting what is in our mind and translating that into different media. So I think this is also one medium.
I agree. And in the background here, I want to pull up this thing we have called a visual syllabus for this class, right?
Yes.
And we haven't updated this for a while. Maybe we should update one of these tools to.
We should add.
Yeah.
We should add some AI tools. Right.
We might need to reach out to our colleague, Patrick, who is taught with us, and see what happens. So going back to this, and I'm sure there's a whole story here, right, about how this is working. And we also, you know, we're kind of looking at these images here. I want to pull up the Midjourney site and kind of everything we're doing here. You can see all stuff which is very relevant, seriously, to the BAC and this work we're doing. This was actually a request from a student. I'm not sure what they're working on, but they were very excited. And then here, right, we can see the prompts that we're entering. We can see a bunch of information about that. And I think this is what's exciting to me, are these related searches. So like, I don't know, this one looks pretty interesting. And we can then go and see what are other things going on and what people have prompted, right? Architectural section diagram apparently was all this was.
Yeah.
Whereas like something else here, let's see, should we look at, these are some things from spatial thinking, and then we'll get back to making and modeling, but we still have a lot of these like related things that have all that information that is just basically public.
Right. One thing, you know, what I noticed about Midjourney, which I'm sure most people have already sort of figured out a long time ago, is it's not going to understand what you're saying. I mean, just because something's in your mind, you need to be a little more, really, a lot more descriptive, because usually we think that, okay, usually, you know, the pictures that we see are renderings or realistic sort of photographs that it's created. Sometimes it can only do that until you tell it to do a drawing, tell it to do a sketch, or, you know, you need to give it the kind of, as soon as you say architecture, it's going to give you a sort of rendering usually. So you need to sort of steer that by telling it that, okay, I want to see a real, a render or a, well, even a sketch can be a rendering, but yeah, I mean, vocabulary has changed a lot. So I think the words really matter, and you need to be sort of descriptive to Midjourney and as descriptive as possible, which is why I think ChatGPT is something that can help us. So I think, Peter, what we were looking at was, I think, the public feed, right? The student work, and we were thinking that we could take that as a starting point. I think this is more like generative sort of design and generative drawing even. So you don't know what you're gonna get, you just know what the starting point is. And then you can sort of guide it and massage it into the right direction.
Exactly. And we've done a couple of these with some of the students in the class. Let's see, does anything stand out on our public feed? This is a collection of images from the current semester. We asked the students to pretty much just take note of what they're doing. And taking note means that you're uploading a named image of any kind. A lot of this stuff is for the class's participation, engagement. We comment with each other, things like that. And more recently, we've started to see some newer kinds of images here. So I'm going to call attention to this one. And also this one. They are coming from a student's project that was wrapped up, and we ran it through Midjourney. So let's see, what do you think of this image? and we'll wait for a second. I think this image looks pretty captivating. I'm excited to see where it might have come from and what the student project was. So I'm going to find it in my session here when we ran it with students. There we go. And we're going to look at this image and see where the image prompts were. And we were prompting from these kind of images there. We're also just waiting for Takbir to join us back. I think she might be back now.
Right.
And we're going to open up that in a side profile, and then we're going to go back to our public feed. There we go.
Sorry.
That's all right. Not everything works out. And how's it going, Typer? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm back.
Cool.
Sorry, I got disconnected for a while.
That's all right. All right, so we have this project up, and I wanted to talk through, so you can see all the work that the student has done there. And what we were looking at is the student did these quite beautiful cutouts, right? They wanted to add some life to there. So this is a student image. And from that image, we were going through and we were looking at, let's go scroll back through here and just see what I prompted. And we were looking at what we could actually create. And we'll just talk about this briefly, and then we'll move on to some other student work. We're passing by some spatial thinking work, which is a class about narratives, modeling, Rhino, Revit, things like that. And we're going to get back into this making a modeling work, which has a different flavor. Do you think that using Midjourney is different when you're working with something like making and modeling images as opposed to spatial thinking images?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the image, isn't it? It's the way the image has been captured, and also what do you want to prompt it to do? So yeah, definitely making and modeling is a little more conceptual, it's a little more messy. It has room for interpretation.
Yeah. And I'm wondering how we create that. Let's just review this, and then Takbir, you're going to give me one of the images from the public feed, and we're going to start running this live. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick an image, and then we're going to start to describe that image and get a response back. So in this case, all we did is pick this image right here, which is a nice sketch, right? Similar. I don't know. I think this looks pretty good, don't you think?
Yeah.
Do you think this was done by hand, or do you think this was done in a program?
I think it was done by hand. Not sure.
I think so too, but the students' project also very much had this goal. Man, I find these so interesting, like student real life image, like they did this, they did some nice lighting, and then like that's Midjourney, right? Trying to recreate it.
And I like the color.
Yes, the colors are super nice.
Light create.
So we just said making a modeling. We got some of these images. And then from there, we wanted to say, where is this thing? Let's put it somewhere. So then we were looking at the foliage, the different plants. The student is also a landscape architecture student. So they have a little bit of a different flavor than architecture. I think it's great. And then we were really interested in this style of scientific drawings. That then got merged. And what's going on here, Takbir? This is a new kind of thing, isn't it?
Right. And actually, you're the one who introduced me to this. Describe. I find that really great, because one thing is we can see through the eyes of Midjourney, and it's kind of like it's describing us everything that could be in that image, and it gives us 4 options. So it could be, 4 totally different things. So we might pick something that is closest to what is in the image, because as humans, we've proven that we're not robots so many times online with the captcha. So that's how we are able to see that things are, see things differently from just something that reads images. So we know that this is real, or we know that this is, maybe it's a model, we know what the scale is and the depth and all of these things. So we might choose something as one of the descriptions that is really close to what it is, or we might just want to go the other way and choose something that totally reinterprets the image as something else. And I think that's what generative design is all about. We're talking about generating something, not necessarily from, everything is not necessarily from our own minds.
Yeah, I agree. And here, what we did with this is we became very excited about these different topics. We moved forward with some of those. And we got to this place actually here, which I think is really interesting, because the student hadn't necessarily imagined that what they were doing could lead to something like this. This project is asking, excuse me, the students to start with seemingly simple things, and then to pick an actual real life site and say, what can I do with that site? In this case, the student was able to do this installation here. And then by using this AI Midjourney Describe, we imagined this kind of scenario. And I'm not saying which one is better or worse. I think the one on the left would probably cost a little bit more money and take some more time, but I think it's a really great study. So let's see what else we can find here. Let's go here. We'll leave that open. And we want to go back to our public feed to look for an image that we want to run. Tucker, I think you had something in mind.
Yeah, I was thinking of one of the cardboard sort of cutout, assembly pieces. The quality, it's not just the design, but the idea, but the quality of the image is also really important. The way you've sort of composed it. And what I imagine is that, okay, if there's less clutter, then Midjourney will ignore all that and focus on the pieces. So, and also, in my mind, from my experience in Midjourney, I think the angle of viewing or the perspective also matters. So if you give it a bird's eye view, then maybe it's not gonna look at it as a building, or suppose we want to make a building. Maybe it needs to be lower, like a human eye view at that scale.
The nice thing is we can go back and retake those images too, right?
Yeah.
Like going back and thinking about this, right? What other tools, right? Here, it's like the camera. We talked about the pencil, the drawing utensil, the camera, and that camera, I think, is so very interesting because of this idea of the point of view, and that's having new, not new, just different or surprising relationships to something like Midjourney. So we're going to try and use this image, and I'm going to start the same way we did before, and then prompt, and you can help me out. We're also going to try this. We've never tried this before. If we can just use our, we're going to use the image to start, and I'm going to see if this link works. Anyone with the link? What do you think? What's your thoughts? Think this is going to work? And I'm going to say making and modeling.
Sure, maybe.
Oh, the link is invalid. So we'll upload that to Discord so we can use it. There we go. We'll open that, and we will copy image address. This is how this works. And then we are going to use the imagine prompt. Ooh, also, I should probably check my settings real quick, shouldn't I?
So there's been a version 5.1. So you could choose that.
I actually haven't used 5.1. That came out, was that yesterday or the day before?
Yesterday, I think, yeah.
Yeah, yesterday. Or does that word change for you and me? I think it does.
Well, in this moment, I think yesterday works because today is the same for us, right?
Yeah.
Not sure when it came out.
And maybe we should just not say ever like where we're actually from, and people can just guess where you and I are from.
Mhm.
All right, so we're gonna go with 5.1. We're not gonna use any of the things. We'll use high quality and stuff like that. Style low, I think we want to kind of maintain these, and everything else looks good to me. So then we will imagine, and we're going to imagine using that prompt. And then I'm just going to type in making and modeling to kick this off, and we'll just see what we get. But where might you start?
I was thinking this looks like a cluster of buildings. So, you know, maybe it's like there's a lot of different buildings of different heights, and they have these spaces in between them, and maybe there's like green spaces in between them.
So like something like that, building with different heights, green.
Maybe a cluster of buildings.
Ooh, cluster, but in between them, cluster of buildings. The cluster of buildings with different heights, green spaces in between them. Anything else we want to add to that prompt?
I think that's it.
That
So,
looks good.
you know, the first one should be like the simplest one.
All right, so we're going to do that, and then we'll add this to our prompt, and we're watching that.
Oh, we're seeing something really interesting happening. Somebody's making.
Oh, I don't know why it got.
It's
All right, so
like this elf or something.
So there, I know that's up, but let's keep that open. And that I don't know why it got so like evil looking.
And it's like two of them are similar, you know, elves, but then one of them, there's a man who's making the elf, and one of them is like the elf is real, but it's made out of cardboard at the same time.
Yeah.
Totally unexpected. I mean, you didn't give too much of information. This is Midjourney's mind.
This is Midjourney's mind, yes. And I'm going to pull something up in the background so we can continue to look at the full scope of the student's work. I am interested in talking about this idea of like the method of making. And on the bottom left here, image 3, right? Midjourney works 1, top left, 2, 3. Image 3 there is this idea of like folding. And you can kind of see that really coming through.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about folding before we move on to this image?
Yeah, I think there are some creases on the model that show folding, right? And I think folding is really, really interesting. We also talked about this earlier in one of our sessions where, you know, you can use any kind of sheet material, and folding itself can become a fabrication process. Actually, there are two ways that I look at it. One is you're sort of conceptualizing this origami sort of structure, and then you're building it by joining different pieces together. You're not really folding. But the other way is actually taking real material and folding that material to give a certain outcome, which I find really interesting.
I do too. And
pop-up pens and
commenting on this, right? This is the student's overall collection of work. Let's make sure this is sorted. And they had started, you know, with a lot of folding. And also, I know a lot of the videos that you've shared with the students use that technique of folding, things like that. And basically, the student wants to create something to add to this wall. This is the idea, right? Some kind of way. This is at the BAC. In one of our hallways, they've used this box as inspiration. And then they were starting to play with this. And I'll say, and I think the student is fine with this, they were struggling with like how to get this into Rhino, like what are they supposed to do, how to make it captivating. So this idea of folding here. Now, before we come back to that idea of folding and maybe integrate it, all right, now, like, what are your
Oh,
comparisons?
wow. So I think it's like a physical model that we would make. It hasn't given up on the fact that it's cardboard.
Mhm.
That's quite interesting. It's like an aggregation of different, units, or maybe they're dwelling units, I don't know. But it's really interesting to see the voids that it's created, even though they weren't there in the original image.
Where should we go next?
I was thinking we could use the describe feature and maybe enlarge one of these. Or
Okay,
maybe we have the other one. What do you think? Do we want to describe this one created by Midjourney or the original image itself?
let's do both. So
Mm-hmm.
let's, while this runs in the background, let's pick 1, 2, 3, or 4 to upscale. Which one do you want to pick?
I like one.
One?
I
All
like
right.
the void.
Upscale 1, and then we will do describe, right? And then we're going to upload an image to describe, which is going to be
The
that
same
one, which I believe is this one. Luckily, my computer is pretty clean right now. Yes, that one. So we'll describe that image. And then also we have this image, which we now did, and then we will copy image. I think I
Describe this.
works better. Copy image address. And can you, no, you have to download images to describe them, right?
I'm not sure.
I think so.
Yeah.
And if I'm wrong, everyone online can tell me. I'm wrong.
And they will.
All right, so that's describing. So we have this description. Okay, let's read it real quick. 3 cardboard pieces used to make model of a model of a city.
Wow. Looks like a skyline. It says cardboard pieces made in a workshop for students.
Yeah,
which is close to what they are.
that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Screenshot Saturday. I don't know what that hashtag is. Never heard of that.
Where did this go? Wait, where is this?
It's in the second one, the second description. It says hashtag screenshot Saturday.
Shot Saturday. This is hilarious.
We should have a hashtag for making and modeling.
We should. And I'm doing a quick Google search of hashtag screenshot Saturday. It looks like it's not used too much, but all right. Come back to that later. Okay, so we've described this one. Let's do 1, 2, 3, or 4, because then we can essentially create an image from that description. What do you think? 1, 2, 3, or 4? I'll let you make all.
I like 4 because it says something like rough clusters, varying perspectives, and bold structural design. I like the words, angular line work, puzzle-like pieces. Those are all my favorite words. So.
All right, so we're going to describe that. Now let's take a look at this description just real quick. This one looks like it has a lot more links in it, which I think is interesting. It's like this weird like way to reverse image Google search the web.
It would be interesting to see what their work is like, if they are artists or architects. Not sure.
These like some of these people?
Yeah, the people that are mentioned.
That's pretty cool. Okay. And all right, let's go to that. Ooh.
Oh, surprising.
Okay. Intriguing.
These are very, very, this could be something closer to.
All right, so that was cool. Oh wow, Look at that.
Wow.
So that came from the description there. The bottom right is so much different. It's intriguing. It's like an intention. It was like, I've done the same thing 3 times. Let's try something else.
Yeah. Yeah, it does that. It throws one, sometimes it does like 4 very different ones, but more often it just throws one totally different one.
Yeah.
To probably go into the mix. So you can take that direction if you want, I guess.
Right.
You know what? I would like to take the description into ChatGPT and see if it can enhance the description and give us, who knows, maybe more detailed, sort of descriptive. I'm not very descriptive when I'm talking about stuff. It's like I'm more metaphorical maybe, but I think ChatGPT is more, it factually sort of describes things very, very much in detail. So
let's take, so we got this, and now, all right, we gotta this is our friend here, right? ChatGPT. And what is that doing? All of this stuff is like related. I think I don't know what I was talking about. All right, so let's see. Hi, ChatGPT. Should we, what time is it for you? What should we, how should we what should we ask them? Should we just paste the prompt in there? What do you think?
Yeah, I think we could say that, okay, so earlier I did try to ask it to describe or create a prompt for Midjourney, and that does not work at all because it says that I can't, like I can't create something for another program, or I don't know what it's been programmed to say. So we could say that please describe describe a sort of an image that has these things in it or something like that. And then we put has the following, and then you.
How does that sound?
Yeah. To begin with, I think it's. Yeah.
And I mean, like once we kind of see smile, the image is characterized by smile core elements. I have no idea what that means.
What's smile core? There's like fire core.
I'm going to Google that on my second screen.
You need a lot of screens now.
Yes, all of the screens all the time. Okay, so let's see let's try and get ChatGPT, and let's have a goal here. Like, do we want to try and inspire like a project in a stairwell or something? I'm trying to like bring up like, how do we help this student? Like, what is going on?
I think I'd like to see, whether this description, which is like really wordy, whether it sort of generates something that we couldn't imagine, and then maybe we can take it somewhere. We can guide it somewhere.
Okay, so we want to run that through Midjourney.
Yeah.
And do we want to run it with a primary image to start, or just?
No, I think it's just the words and I think we should definitely have the image part as well, like the image depicts, because you want it to like. I'm not sure. Let's see what.
Let's try the difference.
I think it's going to be minor.
We don't need blend. And I've noticed as well that when you have like very wordy paragraph style prompts, it really misses a bunch of things. One thing I do when I get bored is I just, whatever song I'm listening to, I just put all of the lyrics from the song in there and see if it can, what album cover it generates.
I think for that, you do need to say an album cover.
I do, yeah. I have,
and then, right?
I have the like artist,
like,
I say like album cover for, and then I put the artist name and then the song name. Yeah. And then after that, I think I have a condition for it to be like a certain aspect ratio and stuff like that. But All right, so we got our
Oh,
first
okay.
one back.
And it's wow, I'm finding this really fascinating. This is such a
Mhm.
nice composition, even though fine, it doesn't of course, even the description doesn't have that, the green spaces, but this is such an interesting composition for taking forward the, whatever the student started with.
I agree. And let's
And
see.
it's
Okay, there's the difference there. Oh, so it did. So that is,
oh,
it looks
slightly
like it
different.
framed it. Like it put the frame
Right,
maybe
right,
because the image depicts.
right. Yeah. Yeah, so it kind of gave it more context.
Do we want to,
Oh,
uh,
sparkly one.
what should we do next?
Well, we could take one of these. We haven't tried blend. We
Yeah,
could take these and then blend it with the other one.
and I'm
Or
intrigued too. So the student they have sites. Do you want to try and blend it with their site?
yeah, we could do that.
Okay, so I think, let's see. Now we're looking back to, this idea of what are our tools, right? And
Mhm.
what can we use them for? I forgot where that thing went. There it is, right? What are our tools? What can we use them for? So when students are taking pictures of the site, I think a lot of students are like, I took the picture of the site. I got it,
Mhm.
right? But the way we take them, I remember talking about, okay, these are good. Like this is more of an elevational picture.
Mhm.
And so I think we should use this.
Mhm.
I also
Yeah,
now
they want
realize
something.
like,
Yeah.
what? Okay,
Mhm.
some like interesting similarities.
Mhm.
All right, which image on the left should we upscale? And then I'll get this downloaded so we can blend with it.
Sure. Yeah. I think. I think the one that has a background, because then it might start to realize that this is a 3D thing, and then that can go on the wall there.
So we want to, whoop, that's fine. The 1, 2, 3, we want to upscale 3.
3.
Cool. And then we want to blend. So we have that one. That looks pretty good. We'll open in browser. We will save image as there. And then we want to do a blend. And we can blend. Whoop. There we go. Image 1, 2. So we want to blend that image. Does it matter what order you do it in?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I've tried it in different orders,
And we
I think
just
we've
want to
talked
blend.
about this.
Look good?
Yeah.
I'm also interested in how we might blend, like if we might use some of these. We're also, the student I know is like interested in these things kind of hanging on the wall
Mhm.
and being these individual pieces. What we've done over here is moved a little bit away from like individual pieces on the wall, which might be fine. We'll see what happens.
Now I wonder whether it's gonna use that image as a, as a context, or it's gonna sort of incorporate that into this
Right.
aggregation. Might just do that.
There's the description of that site image.
I think the urn is it's integral to that to that image.
Yes.
It's almost the image of the urn.
I'm very intrigued by these pieces.
Mhm. I mean, I would love to explore this further. It's quite interesting, especially since it's using cardboard.
While we let that continue working, let's look at and think about some of the other images on the public feed.
Before we do that,
Yeah, go
Peter,
ahead.
how do you think this would be if the student were to make this, what are the tools that they need to do to use?
This specifically.
Any of these, you know, sort of compositions that Midjourney gave, especially the last few, which are very artistic and very sort of busy.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of, I think it's, one thing is that I also see layers in there.
I do
Now that
too.
you've enlarged.
What I find intriguing is that I think it would be challenging to make and get this aesthetic using digital fabrication. So you might need to do some post-processing, like everything using a laser cutter or a CNC tends to look fairly refined and precise, but this doesn't have that feeling. So I do think you might get some pieces cut out, but then you'd want to come back in with some hand tools and then start like hacking at it. And that might be where it's like, okay, we have our site. Let's just cut out a bunch of pieces, which is kind of what the student is doing, and then just start layering them together. And I also think it's interesting that we look at the student working at scale. We talk about scale study models in this class. And I think the students sometimes don't realize that a scaled study model or even a study model can be at the site, right? That could be later on in the workflow process. And they can say, no, I'm just going to laser cut out or CNC out a bunch of shapes and then just start putting them up on the wall to see what happens.
Yeah. So the site becomes a part of the design process.
Yeah. This one is being a bit slow on its start here, but that's fine. Let's
some of the other.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the other things on the public feed and just speculate what we think would be worth running through Midjourney. And maybe we do that in the background and then post things or do another video.
I think, you know, there was one with sort of origami, which kind of I found interesting. Because again, that's folding once again.
Like this project?
There's, I think there's a lag for me, so I can't see which one you. Yeah, well, this one, but also they done something a little more further developed after that. There's also the other one with cutouts, you know, the cardboard with the cutouts on, it says.
And let me do this. Let's do that. And all right, let's see, cardboard cutouts.
There's like these pop-up shapes that are coming out of the cardboard, sort of positive and negative.
We did get our image back
A little earlier. Oh my God, the urn has
the urn has
been totally
been transformed. That's very intriguing.
You know, this is doable. Using the urn as your site or your base.
It is. However, that urn, or it's not an urn. I don't know the exact history, but I know it is important, and there's a reason why it's there at the BAC, so please do not mess with that. Let's see, this is, do we want to, I actually don't know where to go with this. What do you think?
I think, you know, this is kind of like we're just opening up a conversation.
Yeah.
And then we're sort of, you know, it's not a rehearsed and prepared sort of conversation that we had, but we're just trying to look at different directions that students can take with their projects. So I think it would serve as well if we just do one more project and just see, you know, just one more workflow and see what happens.
Okay, let's upscale one of these and then upload it to the public feed. Yeah. Just to, and we'll say nothing, you know, the students will just sign into the public feed and see these new images and. Yeah. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, or 4.
I like 1. I also like 2. Because it's like a little, the urn is disintegrating and turning into this.
I like 2 as well. I like 2 because we see the different way of like, it's almost a formal study. What happens if my site is like this urn or this shape thing, or what happens if my site has these framed elements? So let's upscale 2. And those normally go pretty quick. And I will save this
In the public feed.
and put that in the public feed. I think I need to be, I think I can't be uploading. So I'll do that in the background here. Well, we do another image. I'm kind of partial to Leanne's work. Do you mind if we pick one of these? I'm also interested because they apparently decided they want to use Grasshopper for this class, which we did not ask them to do, but that's cool.
Right.
We'll leave that alone for now. That's very cool. All right, let's see, what image should we use from this collection over here?
I like the one on the left, which is where your yeah, the one next to it. Yeah, I mean, that seems like an interesting composition. But the other one as well, like the one that's like a fountain. Yeah.
Roller coaster. Is that what you?
I already commented on it.
And the one the right?
No, the one next to it, like it's like a firecracker, maybe.
This one.
Made of paper, yeah. Blooming. Sorry.
All right, let's see. Isabella said the creativity on this one is so cool. Love how it looks like firework that has exploded.
I wonder if Midjourney will imagine it that way.
Should we try this one?
Yeah, let's try that.
Let's do it. Download, and we'll go here, and we are going to imagine, or no, we have to upload that first. I need to not have my prompt active. Go away. And here we go. Get that going.
So what do you want to describe it, or do you want to imagine something with it?
Let's describe it first. And then at the same time, let's also imagine it. And then let's not do making a model, and we have to give it a prompt. Should we prompt it with Isabel's comment?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right. And then, well, that loads. All right, so we got white paper tree.
It's a pipe cleaner. Cubist fragmentation. Abstract expressionist. Oh. Midjourney is like really filled with isms.
Yeah, it is. And in the background here, I just want to make sure that we get this into our public feed here. Well, that's working. Did not want to open you. I just wanted you to go here. There we go. All right. This is how we give students feedback. We just run their work through Midjourney and upload it without saying anything.
Well, they might get it because you need to rename it.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, look at that.
Ooh, that's interesting.
This is, oh, I like this. The last 7% is always surprising. I really like this. And it's really, you know, it does not ignore the carpet or the fabric.
All right, so in just the next couple of minutes here, because I think we need to move on, as much fun as we're having. Should we upscale one of these and then maybe start blending it with some of the origami images?
Oh, that's a good idea. Yes, we could do
All right, 1, 2, 3, or 4.
I like 4.
Cool.
Or maybe 1, because, you know, we want to ignore the background.
All right, so we want to, my concern though, is that it's gonna, the background and the thing are too similar.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go with the other one.
Okay. And then we're gonna blend this. And we want to blend it with what we can blend it with multiple images. Let's blend it with a couple. And also,
can we do more than 2?
yeah, you can do up to like, let's see,
Oh, 4, I think.
you can do +4, I think. +4 options. 5. You can do up to 5.
Oh. Okay. Let's do 5.
Cool.
Let's go the other direction.
All right. So image 1, blend there. All right. Now image 2, so that's Midjourney, and then we're gonna choose 4 images. So you get the first choice, I get the next one, and then we'll both get. So what do you want?
Yeah, I think the one where you are right now, your pointer.
All right, now I get to choose the next one, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate. No, maybe a little bit. Ooh, do we want that one? No, that would be a little weird. Some really intriguing sites. I don't know if I want the site yet. Might come back. That might be a separate study. I think I'm gonna go with this one. Because it's the final image. Yeah.
Yeah, we should sort of, it might add some style and make it look like a rhino.
All right, so you get the next image choice.
How about a sketch? A sketch or scribble or something. Yeah.
We got, see, I'm so intrigued.
I like this.
You like this? I like this too.
An algorithm, visual algorithm.
Okay. Let's download that. There.
Last.
It reminds me of like, certain things, like this kind of stuff, right?
What?
And we are going to, I get the last pick. I'm so tempted to do this. Should we see what happens?
Yeah.
Okay. Creating the array. And all right, I don't think I've ever blended 5 images before.
Let's see what happens. I'm glad we don't have humans or hands in it, and that would be scary.
All right, this is a team effort. And we're going to see what amazing things all of us on this team developed. One new message is my message. It's still working on that. There it goes. And what do you think is going to happen?
Something very, very unexpected for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a drawing, because 2 of these one is like, or two 3D models, 1 sketch.
That's quite a nice sketch. I just wanted to comment on this. I actually think I missed this when this is quite beautiful.
Yeah, I like the layers.
Ooh, look at, ooh.
Oh, I love this. I love the.
That's really nice.
So it's done everything. It's done paper model, sketch, and sort of rhino looking 3D model there.
And I still need us to remember, I keep forgetting where I put this tabs on tabs there, right? It's so important for us to remember this kind of diagram, right? That we're spinning these wheels and thinking about things. And I really do feel like the introduction of Midjourney, of ChatGPT, is this ability to spin these worlds and like see what connections can be made.
Yeah.
All right. Let's upscale one of these, leave it on the screen, and then we'll wrap things up from now. And I think you and I will continue to run some stuff in the background and maybe post as well to the BAC DME Discord channel on our investigation.
Yeah, I'm already getting a lot of ideas. Already intrigued about it.
All right, so upscale 1, 2, 3, or 4.
What do you think? Should it be analog or digital?
I'm partial to 2.
Me too, actually, because it has both, right? It has
Mhm.
the sort of sketch and it has the 3D model in it. Let's see what.
I'm also, it's interesting that between 1 and 2, so 1, actually, I'm just going to upscale 1 and talk about it. We'll leave this over here. We'll leave the source images. So it's interesting that this one has the folded origami on the right over the grid, and then on the left are these like lines that are kind of they're almost like, what do you call that? Like a vector line, like
Yeah.
Things like that. And then this one, or sorry, upscale 2 is like in many ways a reverse, where you see
Oh yes, the
the
lines are
lines
on.
on the grid, and then the
Right.
origami is in space.
Mhm. Yeah.
And just as the last thing we do, let's see, do we want to describe one of these and then
Oh, that's
upload
great.
it?
Yeah, I would want to know what it thinks one is.
One.
Yeah.
So we have that, and then we are going to describe this. And then we also, there we go. And then we want to, I can't do that because I keep forgetting that I can't upload. There, here's our public
Oh,
feed.
there it is. It has some weird, a
Yeah, it does.
booklet showing some origami pieces in the style of dynamic linear compositions, hand-drawn animation, water drops, graph paper, symmetrical compositions, time-lapse photography, symbolic, nebis. What is that word?
Which,
Oh, there are some other language words as well. There's like
yeah,
Russian in the second one, I think. That would be interesting to see what it thinks. 3 origami papers are laid out in the style of glitch core.
glitch core. I've come across that before. Let's just drop this whole thing here. And let's see. No, we'll drop the whole thing and then we'll just put it up here.
Oh, yeah.
And there we go. All right, so we got this over there, and then this is Leanne's project. And it looks like we have an interesting direction to move in.
Yeah, and I think the students will get an idea of, or maybe, you know, they'll get plenty of ideas, I'm sure. But they could take this as a prompt. What we've come up with could be the beginning of something else they come up with.
The start of something new.
Yeah.
This is the start of something new. It feels, never mind. All right. Well, I am happy with what we did today. Is there any other comments you want to make about Midjourney, ChatGPT?
I think it's still something that we're all exploring and we're all like learning as we go, and every single day there's something new happening because they keep developing it further and further. I do see a lot of stylistic sort of changes that have come forward in the last few months. So it's there's a lot of change that has happened, and I think that is all machine learning. You know, it's learning from the prompts that we give it.
Do you want to give like at some point, do you want to add a brief comment to this image here? And then the student can have that there?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Cool.
I need to sign in.
So we'll both come back later. And that's it for now. We're going to do more of these sessions.
Yeah.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.